Alright guys, today we're going to do something a little different. Today I'm going to do my gesture drawing, and while I do it, I'm going to just kind of give some commentary and kind of explain what I'm thinking as I'm going through each pose, and hopefully it's a little bit helpful. I'm like half asleep this morning, so I hope some of this makes sense. Anyway, let's get started. Alright, the first pose. And I'm off to a bad start because I didn't have my layers in place. Alright, we're not gonna worry. The first one, and we gotta keep it loose. I have found that doing these, it helps to just really quickly get in the loose lines of where the arms are and just kind of really block in the body really basically. And that's kind of just what we're trying to capture with these. Because this warm up, you'll see in some of the other poses, she's like wearing dresses and it's kind of hiding a lot of her body, and you kind of have to guess where it's going to be, and I kind of wanted that to be part of the challenge. So I wouldn't recommend this warm-up if you aren't really familiar with the body, but I like this because it helps me kind of rely more on what I know about anatomy rather than me always having a perfect view of what's there. So, it's not going to be perfectly photo accurate, but this is about the gesture and the gesture of the clothing as well. All right, once done, I'm going to turn down my music a little. And we got two. So here we've got a dress, and I can tell you, this is actually my third time now drawing these reference images, and when this one first showed up, I mildly panicked because I'm like, I cannot tell where her body is. And that's where I started to develop a new way of approaching these type of drawings. And that's where it's important for me to map out the body underneath the dress first, because that's going to tell you kind of how the fabric's going to get pushed and kind of help you guesstimate what's going to happen and where the legs are going to come out underneath the dress. Also, one thing I have to keep in mind with these is sometimes the camera is slightly below the hemline, and we can see that it's almost forming like a circle underneath, and we can see the back of the dress through the one side. So that's one thing to keep in mind, because I did take these pictures at different perspectives kind of to help with that as well. And again, these don't have to be perfect. This is about warming up, getting loose, and quickly learning to capture the essence of what you're seeing here. There we go. Now we're on to the third one. Thank goodness no dress in this one, right guys? I try to get a mixture because it is kind of nice to have some poses without the dress so we can see her body better. Here we can see I was kind of marking in circles where I see her shoulders are at. And I like kind of using these triangle wedge shapes to block out the upper torso, just because I find it kind of helps me more. And also keep in mind, and you can kind of look at that line and mark it out. I kind of hold my pencil up to the screen. Not that I'm getting 100% accuracy, but it's just kind of helping me realign what is exactly straight up and down, and what about this pose is not straight up and down. And you can see that her legs are at an angle inwards, so I'm just making sure that I capture that. And the sleeves kind of flare out here. Then I have some time, so I'm going to add in some of her hair and the sunglasses up here. Can't really see the other hand back there. We see a bit of the sleeve. And I forgot shoes, so I'm just going to quick chunk them in there. Again, guys, doesn't have to be perfect. It's about being loose. This one, yo, this pose, this one's so hard for me. It's pretty like high up. So honestly, every time I do this pose, I do the face first and I try and draw in like where I think her like eyes are gonna be. And then putting in the shoulder line and just kind of like using the lines of the clothes to tell me like which part is forward more, which one isn't. Bro, this one's gonna turn out bad. I can feel it. Again, just trying to figure out what's happening here. Looks like it's arcing. She's gonna be arcing downward because this is a higher angle. And I drew this too low. Honestly, using the clothes can honestly like help you a fair amount as to like where everything's gonna fall. All right, I gotta hurry up. We're running out of time. Yeah, guys, this one gets me every time. I think it's because I start to overthink it. But yeah, that's why I'm gonna do this warm up more than once, and hopefully start to learn some faster ways to capture more difficult poses. And I'm honestly doing this because when it comes to storyboarding, oh, we're done. Well, that one was a fail, but it's all right. For storyboarding, like I need to be really fast. And as long as I can capture kind of the essence of the pose, it's not about it being perfect. And even if you want to go through and like finalize these sketches, like this is still a really good place to start because you're kind of just like blocking in the composition of the pose. Now here, like she's really, like her outfit covers like all of her body, but we can see like the upper part of her torso and we can see her arms through the sleeves. So I'm gonna line those in really quick. And then we can kind of see it curves here towards her stomach and then comes out again because I think what's happening on there is she's bending her knee a little. So we're almost getting like a bell shape and it's gonna come out here because she's bent a little, and then down, and I can see her foot, it's underneath, kicking it up a little bit. But we're gonna put in arms because we're running short on time. And again, if you guys do not have like a good idea of human anatomy, I don't recommend this warm up. Just indicate the sleeves in here a little bit. The last 4 seconds and some details up here. Voila. Okay. This one's another pose without a dress. Thank goodness. This outfit I created from a character from an anime and a manga that I really love. And let me know in the comments if you recognize this outfit. It's very iconic if you know the series. I think the manga is still ongoing. I need to catch up on the chapters, but I haven't done that in a while. All right, I'm just kind of putting in, we can see the elbows align with her waist. That kind of indicates where we need to keep them. Kind of helping with proportion here. And like hands, I mean, like, look at that. That's good enough, you know? Because we don't have a whole lot of time. And I need to hurry up and put this flag in her hand. Cute. And get those legs in. So she's kind of like angled here. Her leg coming down. And then this one kind of curves out then at the bottom. I'm just going to shrink that pose so I can fit it all on the screen for you guys. And we can see she almost looks like she broke her ankle down on this one foot because the way the 3D character pose. Damn, but you know what? We're going to draw it anyway because Niki can do incredible things. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of indicate with some extra time these lines in. All right, next pose. All right, guys, don't panic. We got another big dress. And it's a downward shot. We're gonna add some point here to her face, just because I need that. And we can see that actually her shoulder is meeting about where her chin hits. And then we can see her neck here. And sometimes drawing in like the point of the collarbone is helpful as well, because it kind of shows you which way like the torso is facing and what is like gonna be your center. And then I like using little circles to create where the shoulders are. And I'm gonna be quick about this. Run out of time. And again, just using like this wedge, maybe like Dorito shaped part for the torso. All right, and we gotta finish the arms. Put them in here quick. All right, we got 1 minute left. Clock's ticking. This would like gesture drawing thing, like this. Wow, that arm is way too long. We're not gonna worry about it though. This one is honestly been one of the hardest ones. Yeah, I did a little bit better at this pose yesterday, but that's interesting thing is that you're not the same every day. It's gonna indicate by the dress in and some of the hair here, so she looks less creepy. And put in the dress. And we never got her hand fully in here. Guys, this is terrifying. Look at this arm. I gotta fix this. It's a little bit better. I'm not gonna worry about it. And the rest of the dress. Wow. That was something. You know, practice makes perfect. Okay, all right. Here's another pose without a dress. Thank goodness. But that's why I need to be doing these, because if I have a character in one of my storyboards that happens to have an outfit that is very, very full and detailed, I need to be able to quickly break down those shapes and draw them in a fast way so that, you know, they can look like their character in each scene, but I'm not spending forever trying to figure out how I'm going to draw in these forms. And honestly, the key is break it down into really basic shapes. And some days your brain's going to have a harder time doing that. It's just how it is. And usually when I'm recording myself, I have like a really hard time drawing. So, you know, I'm not as relaxed, and that's okay. Maybe like I'd encourage you to try recording yourself, because it's almost like trying to draw while someone's watching you. And I don't know, I feel like it forces you to be more mindful about the choices you're making. Like these fingers are a terrible choice, but I'm doing them like that anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Because I think sometimes when you draw on your own all the time and you're just kind of going through the motions, you get a little bit on autopilot. And that can kind of not always be a bad thing, but sometimes you start doing things and you're like, why do I do it that way? You know, why? And so when you know someone's gonna be watching you, oh shoot, we didn't get the boot in. All right, but that's fine. As you can see, I need to learn to be faster. So we're gonna try and do that with this one. I'm just gonna mark in the angle of the hat. This outfit, when I got it, if you guys play Infinity Niki, will know that it's amazing because it comes with a motorcycle you can spawn. And let's just say, having to always go to the bike rental place to get around was not where it was at. So when I finally got this outfit, I was very happy that I can just spawn my motorcycle in anywhere to get around faster. And it was a game changer. All right, so her torso kind of bends here and her hips are angled down. And I'm gonna put in the arms while I'm at it. Keeping close attention on where the elbows are falling. And then what is happening here with the hands. Kind of like down turned and intertwined a little bit. All right, we're running short on time. I'm gonna give her crazier hair because it's more fun. Put our nose in. I keep drawing too big, and that's kind of a problem, but that's fine. All right, we're gonna put in some lines quick for the legs. This one's like this, and then down, and the pants flare out. This one comes here, and the boots come down. She's got like snakeskin boots. They're kind of cool. And some little details. And there we go. Not perfect. That's fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to capture the essence of what's happening. Okay, this one's simplified, but also we're looking down on the character. So, you know, some reason to have some mild panic. We're gonna go for it. I'm just gonna, again, put in the head. I just find when I do anything that has more like forced perspective or whatever it's called, putting in the head first helps, or whatever's closest to the camera, just so I can kind of guess in how the rest is going to be, because I know it's going to get smaller as it moves away from me. So I'm just going to imagine like her torso in here, and we can follow again like this neckline on her dress here to see which way it's kind of going to go. And then we know that her elbow is going to end right here at her waist. And we have this arm ending down here. That's good enough for now. Now we're going to follow the curvature of the dress. And we're going to do it on this side as well. So it kind of comes in a tiny bit at the waist, but not a whole bunch, because it's not really fitted. This is more loose. And we're just going to guesstimate in the bottom. And now I'm going to add in her hand holding the fan. So it's kind of turned like this, and her thumb is holding this part, and the rest of the hand comes like this, curving around it. And we're going to follow this curve. And the fan comes to here. And we get like a half circle. I'm just going to erase out the insides. And there we go. Not perfect. Doesn't have to be. All right, we got 26 seconds. Let's get this hand in here. The hand's coming towards the camera, so I'm going to draw it in first just to help me make sure that when I put in the arm behind it, it doesn't end up too in the way. And now we're just going to draw this kind of transparent. All right. That one was all right, but okay, so we got this outfit again. I'm going to draw the head. And she's got this crown thing coming over. And comes into her neck. She kind of has her head tilted upwards. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Now we can see we have this shoulder kind of comes in front here. So that's kind of what I want to tackle first as I start to draw it in. So we're going to estimate in where the elbow is, and now we know the waist is going to be in this area. And again, doing like this wedge type shape really kind of helps me kind of figure out where the rest of the body is going to be. Now we're going to guess in the bottom part, and it looks like her one leg is slightly bent, and then it comes down like this. And the other one, I believe, is straight. And we're just going to rough in. And you can see the skirt kind of comes at an angle because the way her hips are tilted. So I need it to be tilted backwards. All right, let's put in that hand there. And arm. And just try not to think about all the little frills on the dress because that's not important right now. Right now, what's important is the structure. Also, me starts adding in details like hair. But I feel like the hair in this outfit is kind of important. So, all right, we got 30 seconds. We gotta roll. All right, so we got one leg in there. This one come at an angle. Let me erase this out. Not panicking. And her foot looks actually relatively flat there. These are some really flat-formed heels. Can I just say? I would have a hard time walking in these, I think. But I like the way they looked. All right, now we're just going to quick add in her little ribbon tail on her dress. And we're just gonna, oh, all right, time up. Okay, that's fine. We're moving on to the next one, guys. This is fine. Definitely not mildly panicking with rush. I gotta slow down. I feel like I'm getting a little too, like, caught up in the details. This one, I found that marking in the hat first was really helpful because this is a upward shot and the hat is giving us a lot of information as to the angle we're about to deal with. Again, we've got like the shoulder here coming forward and very foreshortened here as it meets into the elbow and then comes up. And she's just kind of making this little pointy finger shape, her hands, and then her thumb. Yeah, Niki's so cool. Oh my goodness. What a diva. Yeah, then again, this little Dorito shape. And then again, watch at the, especially at the waistline on clothing like this. It's gonna show you like what the angle needs to be. And we can see her arm behind here, starting elbow there at the waist, and we've got about a minute left. So now I'm going to start to look at the angle of how the skirt comes out. And then the back as well. And let's get like a little bow there. As it flares out and down. And you can see that we can see the back side of the skirt. So keep that in mind as you're drawing again. And it looks like her leg comes down like this. So I need to make this come out a bit more. And the one leg comes here and turns. Again, what I did wrong for this one is I should have marked out her hips and stuff first, but I didn't. That's fine. We're gonna deal with it. And her bag, little triangle shape, but we're seeing the bottom, so we gotta make sure we get that angle right. And about there. And the boots, yo, we're getting crunched. Oh, we ran out of time. Okay, that's fine. Next one, here we go. Yesterday when I did these, I was actually able to do them. Yeah, I'm spending way too much time there on the head. I was actually able to do them fairly easily on time, but today I'm a bit slow. And honestly, like if you're doing these and you're like, man, I wish I could have had more time to figure out that pose, like just pause the video and spend that time to break down what's happening, because this isn't about all, I mean, it's about becoming faster, right? But like, if you don't know what's happening, you're never going to get faster, and you're just going to end up beating yourself up because you can't get it done on time. But once you start to understand what's happening, it makes it a lot easier. But again, keep in mind that you're not going to draw the same every day because, you know, maybe you just are having a harder time seeing perspective. And some of these things make less sense, and it just doesn't come as natural every day, you know? At least that's what I find. And if you're good at it every day and it always seems the same for you, That's amazing. I wish I had that ability, but it is very frequent that I have really off days. And it's on those days that just having like a really good idea of anatomy and perspective, which I don't have that good of. um, I'm not that great at perspective yet, but we're working on it, and this warm up kind of helps me. So those sort of things that are like your weaknesses will come out more. But when you have a good foundation to kind of like lean back on and be like, oh yeah, you know, like this is this, and then, you know, it makes it easier. So, you know, practice your basics. It'll help you on the bad days. I'm gonna put in her hairline and her eyebrows and a little bit of her eyes. I really like this outfit. All right, I forgot the bottle, but that's all right. All right, guys, I think this is the last one. All right, I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna loosely put in her body first, because I have found with this pose, I have struggled a lot with getting these proportions right. Now see, I'm following the angle of where her elbow will be on the other side. And then how her arms go up. This is something I keep getting wrong every time I try to tackle this pose. And I think this needs to come a little higher. So her arm up here is more foreshortened. So you can see top part of her dress under here, and then goes right into her waistline. Down. All right, we're doing good. Now we need to imagine she's kind of tilted back, and this leg angle is very important. Then it kind of turns like this. And again, this one is so hard for me, guys. I don't know what it is. Let me know if you struggle with this one too. I'm gonna shrink it down because messing up already. All right, rough lines. We got a minute, 20 seconds. This time, I'm making sure, I'm just gonna see this triangle shape. This is what I'm seeing with her feet. So now she's planted there. All right. And just draw in her head a little bit bigger. We got this hat thing going on up here with a little bow. These things sticking out. Okay, I can draw some of the frills there. Let's finish these arms up here. And there we go. Now we're gonna add in the dress. All right, we're gonna angle, see this angle from her knees. And again, just using these swirly lines to represent kind of the ruffles on the dress. And you can see that's angled because she's tilted. And if you want, just leave in those lines where her dress is. All right, we're gonna add some frills here to the shoes and some heels, a little bit more details, and then the swirly thing coming out the back of the dress, the little bow ties. All right, guys, that's it. And we are done. That was slightly stressful, but you know, the more you do it, the easier it's gonna get. And hopefully, maybe kind of hearing my thought process as I drew these was a little bit helpful. If not, let me know in the comments and I'll stop doing videos like these. But if you did like it, I'll do some more. And maybe I'll just keep doing it because I like doing it. And if I do, just feel free to mute me and put on some good music while you do it. Yeah, keep up the good work, guys. You are now loosened up and ready to tackle, you know, a day of creating art. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video.